Welcome to Like Pigs in Space, an arts and culture podcast. I'm Aaron Mason,
And I'm Max Mason.
back for another week of stuff.
Yeah.
I did spin this week as far as doing art stuff, other than watching out for your mom as she had foot surgery.
hmm
I did do some rock polishing.
Oh, yeah.
Did I show you the?
Is it the Apache tier one?
Well, so it's
Or the
kind
slightly
of
different one?
Yeah, it's the slightly different one because it's really
Yeah.
you have to have a very bright light to make it work. But then I had this much bigger round ones, and these ones
Oh, wow.
you are easier, but they have like some, I don't know if you can really see, and I'm sure this makes stirring. You can't really see the striations, but this one has some.
I can kind of, like, it almost looks a little pixelated.
Yeah, right through there.
Yeah.
Anyway, this one does more of. It has the layering that the Sapphirdites typically have, and so that was fun to cut that. I did that last night. I cut a bunch of stuff and even got. I had picked up a rock from the rock store over there, Daw Rocks.
Daw Rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one has a bunch of like mini agates or geodes in it.
Nice.
All conglomerated together, so little pockets of it. So I've got a bunch of surfaces to polish up. I did find one on Mount Lemon as well. Yeah, when we were up there recently, and I was pretty sure, but it has like, it looks like a mountain landscape or something. It's got layers of green and, like earth tones, and then some crystals and some little chunks of green rock, and it was pretty cool to found that up on Mount Lemon. So probably shouldn't be pulling that off of there, but
it's okay.
But,
I can edit that part out if you want me to. No one comes looking for you.
No, that's one of the memes of they'll find a character doing a side eye going, I would never pick up rocks in a national park. Never. So it's kind of a thing of no.
In the
I
rock
would never
community.
I'd never do that ever. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm getting too many rock collecting memes and thrifting memes.
Yeah.
Most of them are from some kind of rom-com.
Yeah.
Like, I love you more than anything. Do you have any artistic experiences or good? You told us last week about the building, right?
Yes. Yeah. So building's
that
still
was cool.
Yeah. Building
It's
was
still
cool.
there.
It's still there.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I told you about, like, we watched the Project Hail Mary movie, and that was very good, and it's nice to see a kind of happier story doing so well.
Yeah, that's what I was surprised about, because I have seen, is the other one that guy did? Was it The Martian?
Yeah, The Martian.
And I saw that one. It was fun, but it was not happy necessarily.
Right.
I mean, it had its humor, but it wasn't. It was kind of more dramatic. I wouldn't say it was like sad. It's just more dramatic. And so I was expecting that the clips were funny, but that it would have some really sad stuff going on.
Right.
And I mean, there's moments that aren't humorous, but it's overall pretty humorous.
Yeah.
So that book is Abe's been telling us because he read it. But he's like, that was the lady that drugged him.
Yeah.
She was a lot worse.
Really?
Yeah. He goes, as much as you think she's bad in the movie, she's way worse in the book.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of funny because she was not. I mean, she was a little bit endearing, I guess.
Yeah.
in the movie, like you're like, oh well, she had tough decisions to make or something like that.
Right.
But I think they took her full. Seemed like she was more full villain.
Mm-hmm.
But still, if that's the worst of your bad guys, still,
yeah.
Anyway, it's a good outcome, I guess. Try not to spoil it, but it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
So they're really getting waiting for, which I think is coming up soon, is the I think it's Amazing Digital Circus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the final episode, which is going to be released in movie theaters.
Yeah.
So they had me, she had me sit through that. I was watching it separately, and actually, just so you know, that this is a good segue.
Okay.
That particular piece of entertainment is. Have you watched any of it?
There's like one clip I've seen from it, and it's mostly because there's like a guest voice actor who I really like, and so it's just a funny scene with him.
Gotcha.
It was like it was like the fish when he's like asking the riddles and they has to, but then his whole treasure is stolen.
Oh, okay.
So that guy, I like that voice actor, but
okay.
I haven't seen any other parts of the show.
So it's interesting because just as a premise, it's apparently a bunch of different people, real IRL people, get sucked into this digital world.
Okay.
I don't know if they willingly go in or whatever. And when they get sucked in, they're different characters, and they're not generally only slightly humanoid. But they're all kinds of weird stuff. Like one of them is like there's Kinger or something like that. I'm gonna get anybody who's listening that also watches it is gonna go, come on.
Yeah.
Kingly. Anyway, he's a king chess piece.
Okay.
And then the main lady is a jester, and then there's like Zubul, who's just a conflagration of 80s geometric shapes all put together.
Yeah.
And things like that. So, and they all have different emotional, mental health problems, characteristics, and they kind of play to the different symptoms and of those different issues. Like one guy won't admit he's wrong. He's always, he's putting up walls by being overly disinterested.
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's got a lot of play in certain, in young, in this generationally more open to speaking about those kind of challenges.
Yeah.
So I was thinking through some things, and probably in this will be diving into and exploring certain aspects of my journey, but I know that you've been through this too.
Okay.
So I guess to open up the conversation is we make fun of, and okay, I guess I'll go back even further. Not make fun of, but make light of. Way back when, before our family, so back when I was with my mom and dad and our siblings, and they'd make the joke that our family crest, our family motto was, "Ooh, look shiny."
Right.
And what's really funny is, and I don't know if funny is the word, but interesting is how long it took for some of my siblings to realize what that meant.
Yeah.
And for me, and I long ago said that I had ADD, and now it's called ADHD. And I was like, I don't have ADHD because I don't have the hyperactive part.
Yeah.
And so I always thought that, but I think it just gets grouped in there because it's part of the thing.
Yeah.
And then, so that's way back was ADD, and then it was ADHD, and so you'd have all the there's even a band, the Ritalin Kids,
Yeah.
where where it is truly the hyperactivity along with it, where they are trying to keep them focused or at least rein in behavior.
Yeah.
The
guy who recorded our EP for my band,
yeah,
he I don't think he had ADHD or anything like that, but he had an EP that he put out called like the Adderall EP.
Yeah.
Where he just did a bunch of Adderall and recorded songs. And
well, he did. He was on spectrum, being that everything is on the all of that is on the autism spectrum. I think he was obsessive compulsive.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean that was his kind of manifestation. So that part of it, though, that's the ADHD part, where you certain, I don't know, when like I have it happen. Usually you can't tell it right now, but usually I'm pretty good where I sit at being organized, and I will clean up and get things structured. It's never fully empty.
Yeah.
This is a little bit over the top right now. I have a little side table here, a little cabinet with drawers in it, so I can keep little things I might need. But I also have this. I found a wok at a thrift store.
Yeah,
and it's steel, and I used it once and then washed it and went to dry, and it rusted.
Oh,
and so I'm like, I don't like that wok. Shape's nice, and so I got some enamel paint and I painted the whole thing white and the inside lid white, and I used it as a trough to polish rocks. So I have water. So I have a wok full of water, a bunch of sanding blocks and sanding paper, and a pile of rocks here and a pile of rocks here and some rocks here, and 3 pairs of glasses for different things, and figurines and sewing kits, and an assembly of stuff. And I know that you have in front of you a bookshelf. You have an array,
a little shelf. Yeah.
So what do you feel like when you look at that, what you have in front of you right now?
I think it kind of is. So I have a couple of books, like not everything that I've read, but just some of my favorites picked out here. Okay. On the wall, it's just birthday cards or like Valentine's cards. So I've just pinned all over the place, guitar pedals and Legos. And I think when I see it, it is like, I don't know, I just like seeing things that I like. I think. And remembering like the good experiences I've had with them, or if I'm gonna if I start writing music, I'll look at all my pedals and be like, okay, could I use this sound? So just like seeing everything out in the open is a lot easier than trying to picture it in my head.
Right. So
even though I can like picture the sound in my head, but not so much the direction to get there unless I have the tools there.
Right. And so you have pedals set out, and I notice to your left there you have a keyboard set up, and it's always there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then over here is like guitars and basses.
So let's say in an alternate reality or universe or timeline, whatever, or just in a different place. Let's say you had a white wall in front of you. All of your pedals were boxed, were put away in a container.
Yeah.
And all of your instruments were in the closet, and your keyboard was in a case.
Yeah.
And so what if everything was in cases and put away? How big an effort would it be to start writing music?
It would be a lot. I'd probably just end up forgetting about it.
Yeah, it would. I really, really like when I have the space to have, like the garage, I like to have a workbench that's always ready.
Yeah.
Because then I can go and just do something. But if I have to set up, now I've forced myself because of circumstance to get to the point where I can get over getting set up, and and probably some of my, we'll say, coping mechanisms or other efforts that I've made to overcome my ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
they overcome the issues of it, has helped. But really, right now, if I have to, because we're just not organized right now, I have to set up for anything. So
Yeah.
I wanted to go cut rocks, and I almost didn't do it because the saw is not set up.
Mm. Yeah.
And so I had to go and set it up. Now it's easy. It's one thing, and I put the saw on it, and the water's there, and the electricity's there, and it's around the side of the house. It's great. It's
Mm-hmm.
really easy to do, but it's still a setup.
Yeah.
And so
I think it's kind of how I like in our kitchen. I like to have, we have this, big cutting board, and I like to have it out, even if I'm not going to do any cooking. It just feels like I'm ready to do cooking, but I have to, like, I know Chloe doesn't like it out. So I have a really easy spot that's just like one movement, bring it down.
Well, and that's like, I've really liked the fact that I'm using a lot more cast iron because it doesn't get put away.
Yeah.
Because it's never in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Even if it's dirty, I have to clean it and use it and put it back on the stove, and it has to be dry and it has to be ready to go.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise you kill it.
Yeah.
and so that's another thing. And then I have my, I don't have it here, but I have when I got the little Franklin planner for $1, the little and it had paper in it, and it held my pens nice, and so now it's easy for me to write because it's always there. It's always with me, and it's always ready to go. And I don't have 16 books of poetry of writing, because before I'd have at least 5 different books that I'd started writing in the notebooks. So beyond that, and since those are kind of the characteristics we're dealing with, what are some of the things, or what are some of the challenges that you feel that you've faced in work and in school and such that you think are related to, like, how does your ADHD manifest itself?
I think for me, it's a lot of, I think repetition is really important. And so, like, at work, I've been feeling kind of frustrated because I have like these like processes that I've kind of developed for myself, and we're probably based off some procedure at some point. But I just have forgotten at this point that now, because it just doesn't seem as important. I just need to know like how to do something. And then I'll get like new management questioning me on how to do that, on like why I'm doing it that way. And I can't really explain it. And it's just kind of like, I'm doing it this way because it works this way.
Okay.
And then I have to spend extra time going back into procedures, me like, okay, I'm doing it this way because procedures say this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's and then interesting.
In school, like I enjoyed like being in class and stuff, but if I was at home, I could never, like, hardly ever bring myself to do homework because it was in my backpack and I wasn't looking at it, and I wasn't in like a learning environment anymore. I was in a home environment. And
when did you write research papers?
Yeah. That wasn't until college. Really.
Oh, like I'm more, if you had a research paper due, when did you generally do most of the writing on it?
Probably like a couple days before it'd be due.
Yeah.
At most.
Yeah, at most, right. I can't tell you how many times I've written till 2:00 in the morning to get it done before it was due the next day in class. That's probably a typical characteristic.
Yeah, unless it was just something that I was really hyper fixated on at the moment, then I could just like spend hours and hours writing on it, but that didn't happen a lot.
That's cool. That makes sense. Do you find, I'm wondering, because this may be just my thing, but do you find it is that you are able to come up with a process quicker than other people, or a consistent process?
I think so. I think I'm able to like know what the end goal is supposed to be, and then
Okay.
work out the steps to that. I don't know if I'm
Okay.
always good at expressing those steps or
Sure.
like communicating
Yeah.
those steps to somebody else. But if it's just a project that I have to do, or something that's just me, I feel like I can work that out pretty well.
I have this quirk or habit or whatever you want to call it, ability.
Hmm.
I always think about they'd play these they'd have these lessons in school about you have to give instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right?
Yeah. Right.
And you'd always forget some step, and that was the point. The point is that it's a complicated thing to do anything,
Yeah.
and if you are stuck to only following the rules or following the steps, that you that that's not always considered. And so you can understand if something's more complicated, that maybe steps are forgotten,
Hmm.
depending on who's writing it, and that's why they test out instructions. And like when we were doing the VW book,
Yeah.
it's like sit here and follow it exactly because we've told you exactly, which is unusual because
Hmm.
not everything is that precise.
Yeah.
Uh, so I do work instructions,
Hmm.
and I've always put things into processes, and more times than I can count, I've created processes that people still follow
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's just this is what works, and this is the super quick way of doing it. I had one that I did at DHL. I can't even remember what it was, but there was this way to do something, and I and another coworker like, hey, let's try this out. We came up with it,
Hmm.
and then what really that one I'm only super bitter about. Um,
Yeah.
he and I worked on. I really am the one that came up with it. I taught it to this guy.
Yeah.
They gave him credit for it and promoted him for it, but I had already left.
Mm.
So I had gone over. I left from the express customer service side and gone over to the brokerage side.
Mm.
And so I was in a different building. I was already making 25% more. So his promotion didn't even come close to what I made by going over.
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
that's not sour grapes. That's just I don't need to be bitter about it because I'd already moved on. But
Yeah.
he got full credit for it.
Wow.
And then when we went to move to South Carolina, I'd come up with a bunch of other processes,
Hmm.
and my coworker had gone out a month or so before and started working out there 4 or 5 weeks before I did. And so
Yeah.
he was going around telling people this process, and they're giving him all this credit for it. And then
Wow.
I came in and showed people how to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what he had an inability to remember stuff.
Mm.
So he had forgotten some certain steps, and it is still a good process even if you forget steps.
Uh-huh.
And so I came in, I was like, no, it's this way, and therefore I had a fairly pleasant experience going to South Carolina as far as work because I didn't
Hmm.
spend much time doing the work. I was training people. I was
Oh,
in
yeah.
charge of a process. I was moving on and not doing the maintenance work so much when I moved
Mm.
out there, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And then I was suddenly sitting in the front office with all the guys that were doing processes.
Hmm.
I got pulled to do that pretty quick and got to sit with them and learn a bunch of stuff, and got to learn how to use Excel, and
Yeah.
which the I there's certain times there's certain things, and this is just as a side note, but it goes along with this too. There's certain times in life when people give you advice, and you think that can't possibly be true, but it's not that it's a lie. It's that it can't be that simple.
Yeah.
So one of them was, my dad told me that the way to get good grades in college is you need to go visit the professor and get to know them and have them understand your situation and and you understand them and show an interest in them to, and that was a way to do well in college.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's stupid. It can't be that easy. And then I finally was deciding to finish college, and I'd go see my professors during office hours because they were in they were the classes that were finishing up classes. And so they were very small, or they're very, much more focused on, I wasn't in a class of 90. I was in some of them, I was in a class of 8.
Wow.
And that's how it was intended to be. But one of my professors, I got to know her very, very well. And it helped that I had taken a class from her ex-husband, who also taught there, and that I had written a poem about her ex-husband that she liked very much.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I had no idea. Until I read that poem in class, and somebody criticized it, and she says, "No, it's right." No, he's right. There's nothing to change. That's exactly what he should have written. I was like, it's like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because she did, after I read it, she goes, because it's about, I was kind of asking, because the guy's a poet and I was trying to be a poet, and I was asking, how does he interact with his family? Is basically what it was. And she goes, "That's nice." And the person criticized the ending of it. She goes, "No, that's right." And she goes, "And I'll just for your benefit, I'll tell you a few things. He has a child. He's very good with her. I did have to remind him to take out the garbage, but he would, And I was like, it's like, she was, "Yeah, I was married to him for X number of years," and but so she kind of answered the questions I asked in the poem, so it was kind of fun.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so I go see her during office hours. I asked her for a letter of recommendation for graduate school that I still have but never got to use. But at the beginning of class, she goes, "The grading scale is, A to F. I don't give A pluses. I don't see the need for it. ASU would allow for A pluses." And so she goes, A is good enough. If you've done the work, that's what you get. And I said, okay, cool. And then at the end of the semester, I got to know her, participated, did all my work, and got an A plus. So I got the grade that she doesn't give out. So it was neat. It was a neat experience because it proved out the theory. The other one, the more practical one, I guess, is I was saying there's one guy there who could basically do programming in Excel. So he could write these huge long things, and it was a thing where he could make the Excel go out to our system and pull data and pull it into the Excel file.
Oh, wow.
And so, means he could program Visual Basic, which is the background programming language of Excel.
Okay.
And instead of just the formulas in the cell, he could go into the Visual Basic side and make it do stuff. So he was more of a programmer.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was a project manager and had did Six Sigma, which is did all that stuff. But the both of them said you need to learn VLOOKUP, which is a formula in Excel. They're like, this is the one you need to learn backwards and forwards. You need to this is the thing you have to know. Yeah. And it will get you jobs. It's like, no, it won't. But I went ahead and learned it.
Yeah.
And it got me jobs.
Wow.
It made it so I succeed at jobs is what it
Mm.
did. So it got me further in my job because because it's a huge time saver, because it compares data and gives you an answer.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So taking advice
Yeah.
is can be difficult, but I think that and then I passed on some advice to you. We were talking to a guy we're in the similar situation because, well, he
Mm-hmm.
was a regional director at the time, this guy, and he didn't have a college degree, which was usual at DHL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, didn't have a college degree, was an important person. He'd show up in our office regularly, had succeeded, and so and kind of liked me and my friend. We'd talked to him and stuff, and said, "So how'd you progress?"
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "I progressed by saying yes."
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I told, and that's what I told you. But it was, he goes, "I'll say yes to the projects that somebody wants me to do or the work. And the first promotion will probably be lateral, but the next one will be the big one.
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
or the important one." And so, uh, that's kind of how things went, is
Yeah.
the first promotion. And you had the same kind of experience, I think,
Right.
at least being treated better and given more responsibility just because you're agreeable to help out.
Yeah.
And that guy is vice president at another brokerage now, and
Mm.
you know, so and actually, I tried to reach out to him because it's a broker that we use, so it's one of our
Oh.
brokers. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, I could have been talking to you when we were having problems." um, but haven't heard back. But still,
Yeah.
it's a good connection. So, so sometimes I don't know. Have you ever read self help books that ever? Have you ever?
Not no. Not I mean, there was one I read last year, like the about talking to strangers,
Right.
which I guess is kind of self-help in a way.
Yeah.
That's about the closest I've read.
I've I've read a few
Mhm.
here and there. Uh, back and there weren't. They've progressed. There's a lot more of them now, I think,
Mm. Yeah.
or it goes in fads. But there's one that's pretty famous called "The Greatest Salesman in the World" or something like that, or "The World's Greatest Salesman,"
Mhm.
by Og Mandino, and he's written a few books, and it's real short. It tells the story of the world's greatest salesman, and it's really interesting because it's kind of like a parable.
Okay.
The whole thing. It talks about this guy who sees somebody that's very wealthy, and kind of like I did with the guys. And he goes to this guy that was very wealthy and asks him how he became successful. And the guy starts telling him things like, "Every year I give away half of my earnings,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
and I do this and I do this and this." And what it's supposed to mean in the end is that there's principles in what this guy said that teach you how to be a salesman, because we all need to be salesmen, because we have to sell ourselves, we have to sell what we're doing, we have to,
Mm.
even if it's a project, we have to get people to have buy-in on it.
Yeah.
Not just a straightforward salesman. And so it's a famous book, and it's approachable and thin and quick read. The part about giving away half of your money is really interesting, because if you make enough that you can live on half of what you make, you're doing well, right?
Right.
So, and you're learning to be charitable and look outside yourself, and so that's. And then I did I'm most of the way through Atomic Habits. I don't know if which is the
Yeah.
1% better thing.
Mm. Okay.
And he wrote a whole book, and it's been very helpful because I use that right now with my teams,
Mm.
about setting expectations. Is I don't expect you to be perfect
Mhm.
today. Our goal is a goal.
Right.
It's, are we better? today than we were last month? Are we better, and so that's I, like, I don't care if we suddenly are in yellow because things got overly, if we've got green, yellow, red, and
Mm-hmm.
suddenly we're trending to yellow, but we look at things like, well, yeah, but it's this is a aggressive goal over last year, and we're making progress.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me, because the overall end result, generally speaking, is better if we're not getting fanatic. So,
Mm.
and then I've read a few. I'm sure there's others. And then we were sitting here, and we've been helping Fletcher out with his dad's stuff and
Right.
everything. So as he was leaving this last time, he had, I think it's a result of the fact that he had tons of extra time
Mm-hmm.
because he got here and was able to basically get the house sold quickly.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the people who were buying it bought it as is and said you can just leave crap there. So
Wow.
and so he
Yeah.
didn't have to get rid of a ton of stuff. He just had to get the stuff he wanted out.
Mm.
And that didn't take very long, and he wasn't staying there. He was staying at a hotel, and he was able to go and, just didn't really have to do as much. So he had some way more free time
Yeah.
than usual. But he showed up one day, and he had he was sitting reading a book, and he's like, "Hey, this is for you guys." And so this is, I'll show this to you, but this book is very new.
Okay.
It is, I believe it is, 2026
Oh.
is, it's
Wow.
this year. So but this lady has written a bunch of bestsellers, and
Okay.
the reason I brought up, Digital Circus, I've brought up all this other stuff, is because I don't know if the reason, but they're bestsellers in spite of the fact that they are really about awkward stuff. They're about problems. They're really problems that she's had functioning in life.
Yeah.
And this, of all of them, I think the other ones are kind of stories.
Mm-hmm.
This one is truly a tips and tricks
Okay.
type of thing. It's meant to be a help. And it's her name's Jenny Lawson.
Okay.
And she's written, let's see, she wrote, her books are Let's Pretend This Never Happened, Furiously Happy, You Are Here, and Broken in the Best Possible Way. So you can kind of tell they're about, she's a humorous writer.
Okay.
Best known for her inspiring candor and sharing her struggle with depression, anxiety, and chronic pain.
Wow. Okay.
So,
yeah.
But she's a humorist in the end. And she started, she has a website, a blog. She's the blogess.com that she's been doing for 15 years or so. So anyway, it's called How to Be Okay When Nothing Is Okay. And the funny thing about it is it has a picture of a stuffed bear, and its head is separated from its body by a large plume of fluff. So his head's being yanked off.
Wow.
And so Fletcher left this for us as a gift, and it's interesting. So there's a technique to it.
Okay.
Which is neat. And so it's a self-help book, and it's a functional book. It says, the introduction is, this book is dedicated to my unorthodox brain, without which this book would have been finished so much sooner, but probably would have been incredibly short and boring. So, and then also to the girl who slipped me a note when I was on book tour that read, I'm still here because you reminded me that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
So there's sections. There's the introduction, and I'll kind of do some of that, but it's the titles are, let's reframe this, let's be brave, let's kick sadness right in the junk. Let's fight the lies that depression tells. Let's love people even when people are sort of scary. Let's make it easier and give ourselves an effing break.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the good part and let's party.
Nice.
And she says of herself, and the subtitle is Tips and Tricks That Kept Me Alive, Happy, and Creative in Spite of Myself. So she also says how to read the book.
Okay.
That she goes, how to use this book. And right before that, she's talking about herself. She owns a bookstore in San Antonio, which would be kind of fun to go see, called Nowhere Bookshop. And somehow she goes, and somehow 5 years in, it's still thriving, which is, in spite of herself, she says. And then her closing line to her introduction is, we are weirdos and we are legion. So I like that.
Yeah.
Says how to use this book, and says this book can be read from beginning to end in a single day or broken up over time as needed. Mm-hmm. There's easy sections. You can pick a single quote or motivation. There are deeper sections that bring you, and so each of the titles is very descriptive of what is in it and how to use it. And especially when you go to the beginnings of them, it says, and I'll get to one in a second, but she says, as you read this book, I'm sure there will be things that speak to you and make you say, I have never related more, and others that make you say, this lady is seriously effed up, and possibly even more that make you say, this lady is seriously effed up, and I have never related more. And that's it. And she goes, and if you're new to me, she goes, what you probably know of me is that is how I write. And she goes, and that I swear a lot. Sorry about that. And so that's, she does understand that. But I was surprised, actually, because there is some, but it's only, I mean, if you were to say the amount of profanity in here compared to the overall book, it's probably 99% fine. Yeah. It's really just accent. So it wasn't like I was sitting here going, well, that was 3 pages of the F word. So, so, anyway, this is also something she set up a hashtag that says yep, this is me, for things that you see in the book or in life, where you can just tag it so you kind of identify with things that are going on. So I'll just, for example, the first chapter, for lack of a better section, let's call it a section because it's not really a chapter. Yeah. It's called Let's Reframe This. And they're the ones that are the headers have a gray border around them. Like that, as opposed to the other page that is just a normal page. Yeah. And it introduces it. It says, this section is for encouragement and acceptance. Read this when, and it gives bullet points. So you can go to it and go, okay, this is the chapter. I need to read this when something happens. Yeah. So this one is for when you need to grow stronger, or you want to remember that you're already doing well, even if you don't see it yourself. Or when you need to take up space, or you need to take up space and give yourself permission to be you, or you need to forgive yourself for allowing the world to let you think you ever needed permission to be you in the first place. Yeah. And there's lots of stuff in here, and there's lots of quotes. And some of these things are like she quotes Buddha, and it's a good quote. So it says, let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let's all be thankful. Yeah. And so this is basically Buddha saying, but did you die? Which is cool. And so even if everything went wrong today, you still did something amazing just by surviving. And they can take it up with me if people don't agree with that. If they say you shouldn't be proud of surviving, he goes, but you can take it up with me or Buddha. Try argue with Buddha, um, you jerks.
Yeah.
I'll use jerks instead. So it says, and there's a little asterisk and there's little comments, and it says, I already know what you're going to ask. Yes, you can totally use this as a tattoo. And then the next chapter is called Murder Potatoes.
Cool.
Or the next section in that section.
Yeah.
And it's talking about hippos.
Because
he goes, it's when everything's going like garbage, I remind myself of hippos. Hippos look like enormous doofy water babies who like long soaks, but really they're murder potatoes who kill over 500 people a year. They're literally deadlier than lions, and hippos are vegetarians, so they're not even doing it to eat you. They just want to kill you for fun, I assume. And she says her point is hippos are clumsy, sweet dummies who are too sluggish to get out of the pool, but inside they are filled with rage and terrific strength that almost everyone underestimates. And so hippos are baddies who have nothing to prove. And let me remind us both, neither do we. So in a world full of wannabe lions, don't be afraid to love your inner hippo. And so cool. I like, and it goes on. And so she also says to use this book is she left a lot of blank space. And so I went through this with a highlighting pencil and also a regular pencil so I could write notes. And there's a few things. There's some stuff I want to say at the beginning of this, and then I'll fly through the rest because I don't want to give it all away. But the first things that kind of made me laugh, the next section is called Embracing Your Mess Ups. Okay. And she goes, someday, she goes, I'm going to use this same idea of embracing the mess ups when I finally get the nerve up to have tattoos placed over all my stab wounds, exchanging something I feel sensitive about for something beautiful that I'll want to show off. Accepting the flaws is better than ignoring them, but finding a way to make those flaws something you adore is true magic. P.S. Victor, which is her husband, says I shouldn't say that I have stab wounds, but I'm pretty sure they don't carve out your gallbladder with spoons. And personally, I think this is where I got stabbed. Sounds much more mysterious than this is where my gallbladder used to be before it tried to kill me. So, that kind of point of view is really interesting. And then the next part is something we already believe in. It says terrible moments make great stories because we know that's true. And so, and it's just kind of encouragement here and in a couple other places of not being afraid to be vulnerable with others.
Right.
And which is good. And then, there's tons of stuff, but I'm just going to go to where I have it marked now.
And that was something I was kind of talking about at work the other day is just like when you're talking to people out in the world, is like, I kind of want to be someone who is maybe overshares a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think it opens you up for connecting with people more. And it's like, you don't want to be obnoxious, I guess, but you don't want to not be yourself.
Yeah. There's a difference between trauma dumping and just putting all your problems. I know people that put all their problems on anybody they talk to, because then that frees them from having to deal with their problems. Then there's people that are just personable and share a little bit more than just being cold and closed off. So I'm in that ladder of I try and, I guess the difference is when I share, if I don't know you very well, I'm going to stay positive. Right. But if we're closer and I know that there's an issue that you're dealing with, I'm still not going to put my problems on you, but we might have some more personal conversations and be a little bit more vulnerable if we're more closely associated. But either way, I'm going to do my best to not trauma dump.
Right.
I think that's kind of if you're making yourself vulnerable, it's not making your problem somebody else's. It's saying, hey, I've been through stuff. You can trust me in
Yeah.
this regard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this Jenny Lawson has ADHD. Obviously, when when you get through this, and you can kind of tell the distracted, but the kind of the guidance is to look at things differently, and then there's a bunch of tips in here of how to function and how to make things happen. So, like this one's called "Make a Joy List." So it says, "Do you need a Kickstarter to make your own Kickstarter?" I got it. Got you, friend. Here's a small list of things that bring joy. And it says, "Steal whatever speaks to you." So it's just putting together a list of things that make you happy, and you then revisit it when you find something you love. Check it out, or see that you're feeding yourself with joy. And so she has things like, simple stuff like real butter,
Yeah.
or digging in the dirt, or having coffee with friends, or reading, or et cetera. So, and there's a long thing, and it might be different for you. One of the funny ones, where I marked is, one of them is starting a revolution. That's great. The one that was hilarious was embroidering profanity.
Yeah.
That's great. So, and there's a bunch. And like for you, and I think this probably, you can identify this, but noodling on a ukulele, right? And it's just something to be happy about, right?
Right.
It's not just about that. It's also about changing your point of view. And so she has the next part is called Rose, Rose, Thorn, Bud. And it's a game that they play where you have to talk about two roses, a thorn, and a bud. Your rose for the day is something good that happened. Another rose because it's important to remember that more good things happen. Your thorn is something difficult that you had to deal with. And your bud is something you're looking forward to. And so this is a game they play in their family.
Yeah.
That somebody introduced to her. I think that that's a really valuable thing. And that you weren't here, but when we had the folks living with us, we would sit down. We had a jar that was, you had to tell something good, because they're young and there's some negativity, and we just wanted to make it more positive. There's lots of quotes in here as well, and even she's a pretty good drawer. So there's lots of like little graphic drawings.
Oh, yeah.
And then just pages with they're just a quote. And then there is whole blank pages that just have little teeny print. And this one says, "You are magic." And that's just down the corner, but these are intentionally there so you can do notes or draw or whatever.
Right.
So there's some encouragement. Let's love people even when the people are sort of scary. It says, "No one is mad at you."
Yeah.
And it says,
I haven't, read a lot of self-help or like creativity books, but is that a common thing, like having a lot of space? Because the Rick Rubin one is like that too. Like there's a lot of blank pages in it.
I don't know if his reasonings are the same as her reasonings.
Oh, okay.
Like, is his meant to inspire creativity? Is that what that one is, or is just telling the story?
Yeah, it's to inspire. Like it's a like kind of step-by-step creative process.
Yeah.
And
so that's probably intentional in his then, is to have that space so you can take notes or jot down an idea in the midst of it. So that probably, because most self-help books are just going to tell you and not have, and then some of the ones that become more famous will release a version that has, like, I've seen printings where they have the book and then they have a huge margin of lined spots, so you can have liner notes on the side,
right?
And then they'll have like pages in the back to take notes. But that's generally a later printing when you've shown that people are buying your book.
Yeah.
I like this section. It says, If you're reading this, we are now friends. This is legally binding. Sorry. And then goes on to explain. And then there's this one. And then, so these are just about how to get started, how to get going. This one's called Start with Something Easier. And I highlighted this one because it has this section that says that I wrote on get out of bed when you don't want to. It's kind of what she's talking about there.
Yeah.
And has developed steps to that.
Yeah.
To how to do that. This one has my favorite quote, one of my favorite quotes in the book.
Okay.
I got, but so this one is very important. I think this kind of goes with what we're doing here. It's called Trust Yourself. And it says, practice making decisions for yourself without first asking what everyone else would do. And then the quote is from Terry Pratchett. And do you know who that is? Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah.
He wrote Good Omens with Neil Gaiman.
Okay. Yeah.
But then he has a whole Discworld series that he wrote. Anyways.
Yeah.
And this is a quote from one of his books, but it's a very, anyway, it says, she was already learning that if you ignore the rules, people will, half the time, quietly rewrite them so that they don't apply to you. And that seems to be like, later on she mentions, Shakespeare, when he was writing, if he didn't have a word for something, he just made it up.
Yeah.
And here, like this far into the book, is a blank page, and it says, why do I sometimes see tiny sentences at the bottom of some pages, Jenny? These were empty pages, but that seemed like a waste, so I've hidden some subliminal messages for anyone looking for them. You have very good eyes, my friend.
Nice.
Daily exercises, but not the kind that make you sweaty unless you're into that. So, this one's called Here's One for Everybody. And this is, maybe you're reading this book because someone you love is strange like her, or they gave you this book and trying to help you understand them, and there's a lot of these things like this one. It kind of, she tells how she thinks about things, so you can understand how people think about them. Like she says, did you know that percentages are reversible? Like if I asked you what 4% of 25 is, you might need a calculator, but if I ask you what 25% of 4 is, you could probably do it in your head. And either way, you get the same answer, except that one way is much easier to do mentally. And at this point, you're either doing math problems to check that I'm right, I am, or you automatically already knew this, like my husband. He goes, to be fair, though, I do math in the normal way, and he does not. For example, says 9 plus 8 equals, and he goes, ooh, those numbers feel spiky. Let's add 1 to 9 so that we have 10, and 10 plus 8 equals 18, and subtract back the 1 from 18. The answer is 17. Wait, is that right? Yeah, it has to be, because 8 plus 8 is 16 plus 1. My husband's brain, 9 plus 8 equals 17. What is wrong with you? She goes, and she says, her brain, I don't know, but it is exhausting.
Yeah. I do that a lot driving home, like if there's trucks or even just license plates, I'll try to add up the nice numbers to get them to 10. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
you were yes.
Same with, I think I said I did that about checks too, but it's with everything.
Yeah. I understand seeking out patterns, and a lot of them are mathematical, and saying, okay, this would be nicer if it's nice if things, it's like those videos where things just fit that shouldn't.
Yeah. I think something like if one adds up really well, like all the numbers will add up to a 10. I'd be like, that's the truck I would drive.
Yeah.
If I was a truck driver.
Yeah.
I tried to get that one.
And that, I mean, I worked for Alaska Airlines for a little bit, and I would get calls like that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I had people calling up, and just to let you know how common it was, we had this little repository of answers to weird questions that was on our, like, they were set by the company.
Oh, really?
Wow. They'd gotten questions often enough. And so one of them, somebody said, I'm flying, I have tickets on this airline. What color is the upholstery? I was able to look up what color the upholstery is. It was in there because they were superstitious about green, I think, on an airplane. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I was able to
seeing like a House Hunters episode or something where the lady wouldn't consider a house if the house numbers added up to 13.
Yeah. I had friends in high school. If they had 13 pieces of paper, they had to give me one.
Yeah.
Why don't you go?
It's anyway. Fun. I mean, our apartment here doesn't have an apartment 13.
Yeah. And in India, there's no floor 13 on the.
Really?
Hotel, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, they're superstitious too. In the buildings.
Yeah.
This chapter section is "Let's Fight the Brain Weasels."
Okay.
and the quote is, the thing at the beginning is, "The vibes are off and I hate it here. My brain regularly." And tells what to do. And this one just is a lot of hacks like go look in your washer and make sure you haven't left the laundry. Use white noise to help you concentrate. And explains this one is about white noise, and then the gray sections, they're like this, give you actual details on what the different white noises are.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last one, like violet, blue, green. And the last one, zombie noise, is the sound of horror movies often playing quietly in the background while I work. So it's it's just something that works which I understand.
Mm-hmm.
This one I read to your mom because I know I'm easily distracted, and I've developed a bunch of different mechanisms to cope with that. Your mom is like half and half, right? Like we took we took a sewing machine, a bunch of fabric and everything when we went to El Paso one time. And we were going to be there for a few days, and I was going to work, and she got everything done she wanted to. She sat there and sewed and got it all done, and it didn't just sit there.
Right.
But then there's this scenario. It says that the ADHD part says I subconsciously sabotage myself. And so she says this can be especially hard. Says I'm moving away from the easy but terrible decisions that don't serve me. This can be especially hard if you are naturally rebellious and, like me, tend to do the opposite of whatever you are told, and often end up having a fight with your husband who doesn't understand why you lured the neighborhood raccoon into the garage again. He looked cold. And then he says, for the 1,000th time, "What are you thinking?" And you reply, for the 1,000th time, "I am ungovernable and raccoons need housing." Maybe this particular example is too specific, but it is a helpful reminder that the suggestions coming from myself are not dares, challenges to my autonomy, or judgments about the proper place to store raccoons who are surprisingly ungrateful and hissy when hiding under your car. But that's your mom's t-shirt. I am ungovernable and raccoons need housing.
Right.
So body doubling, which is a thing which helps you get stuff done, right? And then this one's in Let's Get Started is the section, and it's art hacks, which is kind of interesting because it's 2 pages of little, and they're real, like they're like things that she's learned, like use removable painter's tape to create crisp borders on your sketches or paintings.
Yeah, right.
But it's fun because it's like, I think this is interesting because there's some practical, actual, usable things, not just theories, that you can do that. And then this is the chapter called, it says trigger warning, talking about hard things. And it says, again, this is the part about being vulnerable. And then the idea is that I've also learned that whatever terrible stories I relate, someone will reach out and say, "Me too. I thought I was alone."
Yeah.
So,
right.
um, that's what this whole thing is about, and teaches you, about being vulnerable. And then this is the interesting part, and I think this quote is in particular applicable to you. Not that you were necessarily self-centered or anything, even though this quote kind of just that you get a broader understanding. That sounds worse than what this will come out as. It says,
okay.
You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read. So that's more of the, you had your own ideas, you have your own, and then as you've read more and more, your scope of perception gets broader and broader.
Yeah.
It's same thing about traveling, going to college, all those things. You think that you are the center, and then you're not.
Right.
And then there's this whole huge section called "But What If They Don't Like Me?" No, wait, Finding Your Path. Is that it? Yeah. Finding Your Path, that's probably the only section in this book that's basically a extended essay. It's the only section that's more than 2 pages.
Okay.
And just this whole thing about how to find yourself. And then there's a even longer sub chapter after it about this is not, because she talks about Scully, who is a skinless skeleton. Where they did not skin all of the skin off the skeleton, off the skull. So it's a bodiless skull that has some skin left on it. That was at a medical school or something that she was at, and she got to be familiar with it.
Yeah.
And then it says, this is not a real chapter, but I can only assume that right now you're asking yourself, is it legal to own a human skull? And I'm saving you from Googling and getting distracted. And then that one is also 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of a sub chapter to the previous long chapter.
Jeez. Yeah.
And so that's an interesting. And then the rest of these are this how to end things off. And then this is a good advice. It's turn it upside down. I think I've explained this before, but the way I used to get, the marketing department would come over because I don't know how it happened, but I caught an error in their advertising, or I just told them I could edit. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
But the way I would edit their releases and their text is they're like, how do you find that? I'm like, I read it backwards, because then I read it and there's no context. It's just the words.
Right.
So first I read backwards to see if anything's misspelled or a weird word, and then I'll read for context forward. So that's what this turn it upside down. You draw something, turn it upside down, see if it's, see if there's anything like that. But that's also turn your problems upside down, look at them in a mirror.
Yeah.
And this is a bunch of helps about how to finish it. So turn it upside down, have readers, have all those kind of things. And then finally, the last part is let's party, where you celebrate celebrate those things. And it even has the chapter. It says, celebrate good times. Come on, 10 extra points if you sang that in your head. And she talks about having at least one micro celebration a day. One of them is like having a dance party or whatever. But one of them was, I taught myself 3 new swears to celebrate setting up 3 doctor's appointments, even though they were very scary. And so I won't tell you what the swears are, but she does.
Yeah.
And then don't be afraid to remind the world that you exist. And then I'll end it with a quote and an anecdote. The quote is Kurt Vonnegut, So extra double plus good.
Yeah.
But it says it's part of a longer piece, and it became one of my favorites. But this excerpt kind of gives the idea of it. But it says, practicing an art, no matter how well or badly, is a way to make your soul grow, for heaven's sake. Sing in the shower, dance to the radio, tell stories, write a poem to a friend, even a lousy poem. Do it as well as you possibly can. You will get an enormous reward. You will have created something.
Yeah.
So that's a good reminder. And then
I feel like I saw a clip. He must have been quoting Kurt Vonnegut too, but it was Ian McKellen at like a commencement speech or a whatever those are called, graduation speech.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen him quote that a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Yeah, and I like Ian McKellen too because he's very engaging and has a good outlook on life. The last section of this is called "You Win." But what it's about is she had watched a documentary on Maurice Sendak. So, and so apparently the book Where the Wild Things Are, I'll just read what he says. It says, it was called Where the Wild Horses Are for a very long time until I discovered, horrifyingly, that I couldn't draw horses. so I had to change the title. I changed the title various times to things that I could draw, and finally the best thing was things, because that could be anything, and so my drawing ability wouldn't be challenged by anybody, and so she says that book helped me accept my two big emotions as a child. But it's a meaningful book to a lot of people that was essentially not a success from it didn't successfully reach the conclusion that it was initially intended to reach.
Yeah, right.
But he adapted and understood that just because his intent was to draw a book about horses doesn't mean that that's the best outcome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in here that were helpful. There's even this thing called the How Are You Feeling scale, which is really interesting because when we usually do scales, it's low to high, right?
Yeah.
And this one isn't. It's just where you. And so number 1 is I need help immediately. Number 2, things are getting on top of me today, but also I might be really hungry. 3, generally fine with a side of occasional meh. 4, I'm having a great day, and if you ruin that for me, I will riot. And 5, I believe I can fly for real. And so she goes, if you are desperately in need of help or you're being unrealistic, those are the different sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So really, 3 is fine.
Yeah.
1 and 5 need attention. So it's kind of an interesting scale because there's not a default.
Right.
And so I thought that was interesting because went through some stuff with their child and had to have a shorthand for how to communicate. But anyway, Jenny Lawson, How to Be Okay When Nothing Is Okay. And it's got, yes, it's a self-help book, but it also is very entertaining. And lots of good anecdotes and actually a lot of good practical information too. So it's got some really good thing. You know who Jeanette McCurdy is?
Yeah.
Okay. It says, I didn't expect a book about mental health tips to involve a prolonged subplot about trying to steal a human skull from a hospital. And yet here we are. Jenny Lawson is a gift. Funny, weird, and the exact right amount of unhinged. So, I like the unhinged part. That's what I identify with, is that she embraces the chaos of her ADHD.
Yeah.
And we all have a little bit of, well, our family has a lot of it, and it's okay. It's okay. You can function.
Yeah.
And it even talks about medicine. She goes, I'm not here to tell you one way or the other, but I will tell you, I use pharmaceuticals to help me out.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a while to figure out which ones work.
Yeah.
Or it can. And so I was like, yeah, I don't feel like hiding that anymore. There's probably a time earlier in my life that I was like, oh, you can't know that I'm on anything to help me focus,
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't, that's fine. I
Yeah.
I have to take an arrangement of pharmaceuticals to make sure that my heart keeps beating at a slow rate.
Uh-huh.
Not high pressure, and that other parts work and other systems work, and that I can focus. So, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's really good. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'll have to go find it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's hardcover. So
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but maybe you can find a deal.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's an expensive book.
Yeah, that's cool. I think there's a lot of good things. I was thinking two things when she said like this is a contract to be friends.
Yeah.
I think there's a Birbiglia bit where he's talking about how when you're married, your sense of humor just kind of goes to zero, like everything's funny.
Yeah.
And he told a story about going to Massachusetts, and before they went, they started calling it Catsachusetts.
Yes. Yeah.
And then at the end, they had this like rat in their room, and they started calling it Mousachusetts, and everyone was laughing. And he's like, "So we both agree these jokes very similar. They're not funny, but the second one you laughed a lot at."
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're married.
Yeah. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. It's like the stupid fence post thing.
Yeah.
And really, it's funny because that one can totally disable Josie, and it makes her so upset.
Yeah.
Because she's like, "Do not say fence post." Oh well. But yeah, so I really enjoyed making my way through it, and I will say I used the book. I didn't read 100%, but I did read all the way through it. There's sections that didn't apply, or I just got highlights of, but I did.
Yeah.
I looked at every page. I read most of it, but there was stuff that I was like, okay, I understand what you're saying, and could skip past.
Mm-hmm.
But are things that I would go back to. So that's the neat thing about it. It's very functional. You can be reminded of things when you need it.
Awesome.
Anyway, well, and as is tradition, you've been listening to Like Pigs in Space, an arts and culture podcast. I am Aaron Mason.
And I'm Max Mason.
And thanks for listening, and go out and be mentally healthy.
Sounds good.
Or find how to cope with it.
Right. Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.